All right, let's go through pitch grips because everybody wants to know. Sean, you can start because you have good internet access right now and you're not going to get there. And you have a baseball in your hand.
Pretty basic. So this is my two seam. So the crazy part, which isn't really crazy to me, but like looking at still photos. So if you ever look at a still picture of me like throwing mid pitch, I grip it like this, my fastball, with these fingers tucked under here, and then my thumbs kind of tucked under the seam right there. And these fingers are closer together, but mid pitch, my fingers come up like this, and like people assume that's my changeup, but I don't know why it does that, because there's at the Coliseum they have pictures that rotate on the jumbotron, and Bass's fingers are super tight and like this, and I'm like, that's crazy, because I try to do that this off season, just play catch, to have my fingers super tight and close like that. I can't control it, and that's crazy to me. So for me, it's just kind of having these fingers, these are just doing whatever, but these are pretty loose, when I'm throwing it, and then they just kind of float up. But I don't know if that adds anything to it or not, but I've definitely tried to keep them down there, but it doesn't work. So yeah, there's that. And forward seam's pretty standard. Kind of tuck thumb, same deal. Fingers kind of float up mid pitch.
So how do you feel like your sinker comes off your hand? Is there anything special? Is there any cue that you feel when it's a good one, or no?
No, just kind of
just throw it.
From my perspective, I never see my pitches or my fastball. I never seen my fastballs move, but everybody tells me that I have a lot of tail and movement on it. So for a really long time, I would throw a sinker or a two seam, and I would just just a four seam. So I would just kind of go back and forth, and there would be no difference. But now I'm starting to envision that movement of a two seam, and I think that's kind of helping a lot. It's just I'm not seeing it, it's just that feel, and I think that feel kind of makes it move just a tad bit more. Whereas the four seam is just kind of, I'm just letting it rip and letting it kind of throw it out the top of the zone.
So you're visualizing it a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to over pronate it or do anything like that. Just just kind of ripping it. So when I release it, it's kind of out here, and then I just let it kind of do that.
Gotcha.
Thing. So yeah, nothing crazy. Slider, kind of standard, and then so what I learned, or what I thought about, coaches or people would tell me you have to stay on top of it. You got to kind of throw it over that, trying to replicate that an actual throw. So I would, I'd try to do that, but it would come out, it would feel like it was coming out of my hand super loose, and I wasn't able to put any kind of spin on it. And for the longest time, I'm man, what is going on? Why can't I get it to do what I want it to do? And then I started thinking about, I think Bauer came out and was talking about the karate grip, or somebody was talking about it. And that started making a lot of sense. So before, if I were to rotate my my hand this way, I would tell myself I'm getting underneath the ball. So that's a bad thing. So I can't do that. So then it was just I have to stay on top of it. I don't think it was, I threw one good one, but nothing that was I could repeat it 98% of the time. But this off season, I started toying around with kind of doing that and really feeling it come off my index finger, and man, it's gotten so much more consistent. I definitely feel I can manipulate it a little bit more, and I just feel a lot more comfortable throwing it. And yeah, it's kind of crazy how for the longest time, you think that this is a bad thing, and then you try it out, and you're like, oh shit, that was disgusting, But I mean, that's pitching all the time, is like toying around with things and refining things, and then going back to the drawing board and trying to figure out old ways to do things. At least that's what it's been like for me, because I think that's how I threw it in college, was to go like that. But I don't think I was like strong enough to like hold it like this and then be able to throw it, because when I did, it would be like 75, and I don't know what the velo would be on it like now, but I definitely think it's going to be a lot faster, a lot quicker. Some depth, so that's big. And then I just saw Gosman's video, how he threw his changeup, but that's kind of similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he threw his like.
His is insane. Like, I can't even imagine trying to do that. It was like he talked for 10 minutes describing it, and it was insane to me.
You've got to understand, Manaea has absolute just stupid big hands. So any grip that anyone has, I promise you, Manaea can do. I promise you.
Well, let's see this.
Manaea's hands are huge.
Like, I mean, just from the based on the video. Yeah. Let's compare, Bass.
My hands are big, but Manaea, your hands are bigger than mine somehow. So
you got them thick boys. That's what you got. I got like long, skinny fingers.
You got big old hands, though.
Yeah. Anyways, so this is my change. My roommate taught it to me in college, and then I took it to Cape Cod and used that, and I think that's what really helped me out a lot. So yeah.
You pronate that at all, or are you just throwing it like a fastball and coming straight up?
Yeah, so I'm kind of now thinking about like, I guess would
just
be
a little
pronating.
bit. Yep.
Yeah. But if not, then I'm kind of like, whatever my arm angle is, I can't really replicate it in the car, but
don't punch the driver, please.
Do not do it.
Yeah. So I was toying around with like my wrist, like where that would be. So kind of the same deal with my slider. Like, I felt like I had to be on top of the ball, kind of. So I would like cock my wrist like that, and I felt like I would slow my arm down a lot. Not a lot, but to me, it would be like, oh, it's kind of significant. And so I started thinking about it like, I need my arm to be as quick as my fastball. There can't be like any kind of difference. So what better way to do that than to just leave it neutral, and like whatever my arm angle is, just have that my wrist be the same way, instead of like having it kind of like that, where I'm like tensing up on like my forearm muscles. Just have it be loose, free, and just whatever. There's definitely going to be pitches or changeups where really, really good ones are going to be where I like turn it over a little bit and they fade. And it's always been like a little faster than like most changeups, but I think with the movement that I get on it, I think it's pretty. I'll take that.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Bassitt.
On the seams, through it, fingers together. Like certain people, it's my sinker. Certain people will spread their fingers. I'm fingers together on everything. So fingers together. I'll try to get weight. Fingers together on the seams, completely tuck the thumb. That's my sinker. And I don't think anything besides just be on top of it. When I get lazy, my wrist will go like this when I'm throwing. So if I just want to be on top of it. I want to make this with my arm slot. I want to make this as much of a two seam as I can.
So you're thinking two seam and not thinking sinker then? What in your head?
I'm thinking fastball.
Fastball. So it's two. Yeah.
I'm thinking throw this. Like as
Throw the
crazy
crap
as
out
I
of
know, I know it moves, but I've thrown it so many times that I feel like in my brain, I see the glove and I'm trying to hit the glove. I'm not trying to like throw it, say 12 inches to the left and then let it guide to the glove.
Gotcha.
So like, I just muscle memory, so to speak. I feel like I just see target, hit target with every pitch I have. So that's my two seam. Like obviously, that's my two seam. I rotate here for my cutter. That's my cutter. So I'm completely on the seam for my cutter. And it's pretty easy for me to move. And honestly, I feel like I need to do a lot better job of perfecting my cutter because I've gotten away with it so much. In the aspect of I could throw it correctly and be on top of it, so to speak, like my two seam, but at the same time, I feel like when I get underneath of it and get lazy, it just spins and it stays up. And that's okay because my sinker will ride down. So the stay up cutter, I almost every lefty somehow is like, that's the worst pitch in the world, but somehow I missed it. And I'm perfectly fine with it. But I want to, again, muscle memory, constantly just be on top of it. So I know it's just breaking into lefties. That's what I want. This right here, I change up. So I basically think two seam. I literally try to throw a fastball with my middle fingers. I've tried the split change. I've tried all this other things, and I just, for whatever reason, I can't in my head can't get away from trying to think throw a fastball. So I literally don't really need my thumb. My thumb might be there for like a little bit of pressure, but overall, this is my changeup.
And just purely a straight release, and you're just trying to
purely. I am literally taking this, and I'm trying to throw a fastball.
So you're throwing the crap out of it, and
I am literally thinking two seam fastball with this grip. That's it. So the horseshoe, obviously bigger here. I hold my curveball like that, and
your hands are pretty big too. I mean, that's you got.
No, I got Manaea's got bigger hands than me, but I got some big hands. But like I don't like. There's no gap. Like this is tight as can be in here, and I can throw like the one finger, so to speak, or the spike, but I just rest this finger on it, and I am pulling solely on this finger, on this seam. So this seam right here, this finger rests, and then this thumb's basically down here, and it's just tight around it, and I just throw it.
And are you at all thinking that you mentioned you were thinking that it needs to look like your fastball, but it's so
the arm slot.
Yeah.
Arm slot.
Gotcha. Because the speed differential is huge between your fastball and your.
And I literally. Edwin Jackson is the best person I've ever talked to about my curveball, and I throw my curveball at 70 miles an hour, 72 to 68 or 69, so to speak. I try to throw that curveball at 100 miles an hour. But the reality is with the grip, the way that I have it, and then I feel like my low release point, like my knee will sometimes be like messed up from hitting the ground from my release point. So like I feel like from my release point, Edwin Jackson told me one time, he's like, your curveball literally has to pop out more than like someone that stays tall, because it will never get to home plate how low you are if you throw a curveball like someone that stays tall, because you'll throw it at 50 feet. So it has to pop out to get to home plate. And I never ever thought of it like that. But like I said, I throw my curveball as hard as I possibly can, and it just happens to be 72. So I guess, again, I'm beyond grateful that no one changed me, but that's the reality of it. Four seam. So obviously you have smaller seams here, and then bigger seams when you rotate it. I've always been more comfortable. For me, my middle finger's longer than my pointer finger. So I've always been more comfortable with having the seams go up. So my knuckles are on, like this last knuckle, so to speak, is on both seams. And then again, I tuck my thumb on this right here.
And did we talk about a slider here?
Slider, my last year's slider, I'm not gonna lie, I'm ditching it, and I'm busting out a new one. Yeah, I'm busting out
Mr.
a new one.
Yeah, what are
No.
what are these names of these pitches here? It's Bloopy and Slippy, or what do we got?
Mr. Bloopy was from
Mr. Bloopy.
our pitching coach. He was in an interview called it Mr. Bloopy, which we never heard before. And then everyone saw the article of him calling my curveball Mr. Bloopy, and of course, well, now you have 30 guys in the clubhouse giving me absolute hell about Mr. Bloopy. And I'm like, I've never heard Mr. Bloopy in my life. But so then they started calling my slider Sloopy, and I was like,
Mr.
God.
Sloopy.
Yeah, Mr. Sloopy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that the whole thing was messed up. But
But Mr. Sloopy's gone. So
Yeah, so now you got we got to name it something. So what does this thing look like, or are you not going to?
okay. No, I don't care. I don't have a problem. So like, for me, I've always had a problem with. So this is my cutter grip, and I've always had a problem with throwing that too hard with not enough break. So as dumb as it is, I've kind of went to Manaea's changeup grip and added it into my slider grip with 3 fingers. I went 3 fingers on this, and I think throw a cutter. And it has, I'm not a guy that goes in the off season and does like Rapsodo and all this stuff, but it has way more break than my cutter, and I look forward very much to facing a hitter very soon. Put it that way. It may or may not be Chad Pinder. I'm just saying. So when I bust this out against him, so like this is, like I said, this is my cutter, okay? And I just move this up right here, and I throw a cutter, and it, for whatever reason, has some velo off it, but also has way more break. And I look forward to trying it out.
I understand it in theory, but I've never seen that before.
I literally am just trying to throw and just trying to rip this seam down as hard as I can while throwing a fastball. And again, I've never been a good guy to spin the ball sideways like a slider, so to speak, because I don't know if it's hand size or whatnot, but I've always been really good with like just fastball command kind of thing. But just moving my ring finger up has been, so far, the stage 1 of trials have been really good. Put it that way.
Nice. This is going to be fun. It makes some sense. It'll slow it down by having another finger on there, but also there may be like a center of gravity thing. Like your hands are naturally going to add some spin to it. Maybe I'm thinking about it in theory. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either, but I liked my slow sideways slider last year, but at the same time, the consistency that I was able to throw it at, I know is going to be absolutely terrible long term. Like it was really good when I threw it right, but it was really bad in my opinion most of the time.
So it was like a bastardized curve, like a curveball out of a dropped arm slot. Was it last year? Was that
it was literally, so for me, it was literally my curveball, but I just threw it. I mean, if my curveball is like this, I try to throw it like this.
Yep.
I try to throw it basically sideways, and it became sloopy, but it was, either a hit batter, like I at one point was leading guys in hit batters, but at the same time I was leading guys at hit batters. I promise you, 7 of them were under 75 miles an hour because
you want to get your money's worth if you're going to hit somebody.
Yeah, that like I looked at them like you're welcome for that one. But yeah,
Dick Mountain does that. Rich Hill does the little drop down slidery thing.
yeah.
Where,
yeah, but I mean he spins the ball.
He's insane.
He's one of the elite guys in the league that spin the ball. I mean, he's unbelievable.